So friends, we continue to follow the news and events on the Ukraine-Russia front. With each passing day, the situation is becoming increasingly tense. The counteroffensive is in full swing, but unfortunately there haven't been significant advances. And as a result, the Russians have initiated their counteroffensive into the liberated territory in the Kharkiv region. In the first few days, they managed to advance approximately 8 kilometers, and regrettably, their troop numbers are quite substantial, which allowed them to break through the Ukrainian armed forces' defense in the Vilshana and Pershovtravneva areas. And additional attacks are ongoing today in the Sinkivka and Orlyanka regions. Here, the occupiers are moving towards Kupiansk, and there is shelling occurring in most towns and villages near the front. This clearly indicates a highly complex situation, and today the president of Poland made a statement regarding the unfolding situation.
Ukraine has been supplied with long-range artillery, and they continue to receive long-range artillery up to this day. It can even be said that Ukraine currently possesses a much more modern military potential than Russia. The question, however, lies elsewhere. Does Ukraine have enough weaponry to shift the balance in the war and gain the upper hand? And the answer is probably not. They likely lack sufficient weaponry. We can see this from the fact that they are currently unable to launch a decisive counteroffensive against the Russian forces. In short, they require greater assistance.
But before we delve into the overview of changes along the front line, I ask you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest news. And in the Svatovo area, the occupiers are currently in a defensive positions. It appears that all their forces are concentrating in the Kupiansk direction, hence even the number of shelling incidents here is minimal. And in the direction of Kremenna and Sivers, the situation remains stable as well. There are ongoing shelling incidents without any offensive actions, and the front line remains unchanged. In Bakhmut, after the Ukrainian forces managed to cut off their flanks, the occupiers deployed the maximum possible reserves to prevent further advances. As a result, even in Klishchiivka, they are still attempting to push back, and today the occupiers are making ongoing efforts to regain control of the settlement. And similar battles are taking place in the area of settlement of Druzhba. However, the occupiers have little chance there, and the presence of several neighboring settlements allows our forces to hold a strong defense, and over the past day, the situation remains unchanged. And in the Avdiivka direction, offensive actions continue on the outskirts of Avdiivka. And for several consecutive days, reserves have been deployed and breakthrough attempts into the city persist. However, the Ukrainian forces are breaking up all advancing groups and preventing them from establishing a foothold. Offensive actions also continue in the settlement of Severny. They are unable to make progress here as well, and the front line remains unchanged. And to the south, battles continue for Mariinka, accompanied by a high number of shelling incidents along the entire front line. And in the Vuhledar direction, intense battles continue. The occupiers are attempting to retake Staromayorsk, while the Ukrainian forces are countering by trying to push them out of Urozhaine and advance further towards the settlement of Zapovitne Bazhanya. It can be said that there are head-on clashes underway, and the Ukrainian forces have managed to advance approximately 600 meters. However, this is not a final result yet, and the battles are ongoing, and whether they can secure this new position remains uncertain. The occupiers are fiercely defending every trench. And in the Zaporizhia direction, the occupiers are aiming to cut off the Ukrainian forces units that have advanced deep into the occupied territory. Thus, offensive actions are taking place in the area of Novodanilivka, accompanied by shelling on Bilahoria. And it's evident that the occupiers intend to block the territory and thwart the Ukrainian forces' efforts and advances in this direction. However, they haven't achieved significant success thus far, and the battles continue. Meanwhile, in the Robotyne area, a Ukrainian military personnel shared a photo showing our units at the entrance of the settlement. This progress is heartening as our forces are moving forward. And additionally, the occupiers have launched rocket strike on Zaporizhia once again. And it's reported that the strike hit a hotel, resulting in 1 fatality and 14 injuries. However, as usual, Russia denies any involvement and claims that the strike targeted a temporary deployment point for foreign mercenaries. The identity of these mercenaries remains unknown. But nevertheless, it's known that the UN employees were staying at the hotel, and this was confirmed by the humanitarian coordinator of the United Nations in Ukraine, Denise Brown. She expressed shock over the news that a hotel frequently used by UN staff and colleagues from non-governmental organizations to support war victims was hit by a Russian strike in Zaporizhia. She deemed this absolutely unacceptable. And in the Kherson direction, shelling continues extensively along the entire front line. Today, one of the maps already shows that the Ukrainian armed forces managed to recapture a significant portion of territory in the area of Kozachye Lageri. While this hasn't been officially confirmed yet, even the Russians acknowledge that the Ukrainian forces are consolidating their position there. They report that the storage facility of ammunition for a mortar crew, which the Ukrainian forces brought there, was destroyed. And this signifies that the process of securing positions is in full swing, and the occupiers are attempting to heavily shell this area to dislodge our units. Nonetheless, it's evident that progress is being made, and the Ukrainian forces are gradually pushing the occupiers out of their positions. And returning to the topic of temporarily occupied territories. In yesterday's episode, I mentioned that Russia's medical situation in these territories is dire. However, they are not only concerned with medical matters, as today the Center for National Resistance stated that Russia continues to engage in military indoctrination of Ukrainian teenagers with the aim of recruiting them into their army. From August 1st to 18th, military practice camps under the name Gvardeyets are being held in Penza, Russian Federation, with the participation of Ukrainian teenagers from the temporarily occupied territories. Children from places like Mariupol, Kirovsky, Yanakievo, Khoryvka, Shakhtarsk, Makivka, and Donetsk have been transported there by the occupiers. And these camps involve training sessions, visits to propagandist museums, and concerts by propagandists, and thus the enemy continued the policy of destroying an entire generation of Ukrainians, brainwashing children, and attempting to recruit them for a war against their homeland. And meanwhile, the government of Germany is exploring the possibility of supplying long-range cruise missiles Taurus to Ukraine from the Bundeswehr's arsenal in the coming months. Chancellor Olaf Scholz intends to modify these missiles before any transfer, and according to German reports, confidential negotiations are currently underway with representatives of the defense industry on this matter. Chancellor Scholz aims to introduce technical modifications to the missiles to prevent strikes on Russian territory, except for the occupied Crimea. And sources suggest that the German head of government is deeply concerned about the escalation of the conflict, and the Office of Defense Minister Boris Pistorius has requested Taurus manufacturer to integrate specific target programming elimination into the missiles. Spiegel reported that Scholz won't approve the missile supply until he is satisfied with their technical modifications, and industrial circles have noted that implementing such limitations is feasible but will take a few weeks. And sources indicate that while previously Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany was willing to provide Taurus only if the US transfers its long-range ATACMS missiles to Kiev, this condition now holds less importance. And earlier it was reported that the German government might soon decide to supply Ukraine with long-range Taurus cruise missiles capable of hitting targets up to 500 kilometers away, but there have been no new updates on this matter. And additionally, today President Joe Biden of the United States referred to China as a slow fuse bomb due to its economic issues and stated that the country is struggling with weak growth. And this statement was made by Biden during a political fundraising event in the state of Utah, as reported by Reuters. Biden also added that's not good because when bad people have problems, they do bad things. And this context recalls Biden's previous remarks in June when he labeled President Xi Jinping as a dictator. In response, China called these comments a provocation. However, Biden also mentioned that he doesn't intend to harm China and desires rational relations with the country. And it's worth reminding you that on August 9th, Biden signed an order prohibiting new US investments in China-sensitive technologies such as computer chips. And China, which had the world's second largest economy, expressed being seriously concerned about this decision and retained the right to take countermeasures. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support me with likes and comments, and see you next time. Take care.